Hi, welcome to Saunders Sisterhood. I'm Carrie, and this is a YouTube channel for the single, childless person. Our video today is so you're single and childless, not by choice. What's next? So, having to pivot away from having children can be difficult and an often excruciating realization and change to our life path. For those of us who are childless due to singleness, this is typically not something that comes on suddenly, although it can, depending on whether it's more of a breakup situation or not. But for many of us, it's a slow and kind of painful descent into this realization that something that you thought would come just because it's what happens for everybody isn't going to happen for you. One place we can get stuck is shifting our mindset from really wanting to have children to trying to accept the fact that this isn't going to happen. One area or one piece of mindset are our values. And once we come to the realization that we aren't going to have kids, it can be helpful to start to shift our mindset around our values. Stay with me. And here's what I mean. The values around our life circumstance. So many of us have spent a lot of years thinking about a value of maybe children, family. I am not saying children equal family, but many times our thinking does equate those two just based on how we're socially conditioned. But again, we've spent the last few years or more valuing trying to have children. For those of us who are single, maybe trying to partner up, trying to put ourselves in a position where we're having the image of sort of adulthood and family that we've been socially conditioned to have. So we may need to shift our value when that's no longer an option for us. And it can be helpful to really just reassess your values in this way. It can be painful for some people, and really for all of us at some point it feels like a giving up. It feels like an acknowledgement that this isn't happening, even though that's probably the reality of it. I think sometimes our brain keeps hope around, right, in order to help us cope. When you're ready, the exercise that I'm going to share can be really helpful in terms of going toward your next happy. For those of you who've seen some other videos, you know that I really like the book, The Next Happy by Tracy Clintus. And this is really kind of a lot of what she talks about. Shift what you thought you wanted to what is possible. And when you do that in your mindset, then you start thinking about what you can start working toward and what you can start working for versus what you're leaving behind. So when you're ready to reset your values, some of your values, the first thing to do is acknowledge that this sucks, that you have to do this, and acknowledge the grief around this. Give yourself some grace in terms of the time frame that this takes to come to this point as well. Don't beat yourself up for some arbitrary timeline. It's not a linear path up anyway. You're going to go back and forth. But when you see a little window to acknowledge that you're ready to think forward in a way that celebrates the life that you can have, keep listening. So once you get to that spot, then I want you to get out a piece of paper and just write down, what do you want your life to look like? That's possible, right? Don't think too hard on it. Just write and keep writing. It doesn't have to be well written. Just put it down. So where are you going to live? Who are you going to be around? Are you going to be near the beach? Are you going to be near the mountains? How much are you going to work? Are you going to have pets? Are you going to travel? Where are you going to travel? Just lay it all out there. When you want to retire, maybe you want to retire at 50 instead of retiring right at 70. What does it look like? Number 3, now what I want you to do is Google values. So hear me out. When you put in Google and you or to put up Google and put in values, you'll get a list of values that come up. I want you to scan those, look at those. Anything that feels like it could be a good fit, I want you to write it down. Then I want you to reread what you put down, what you wrote regarding what you want in terms of your dream life. And then I want you to go through your value list again, and I want you to just start whittling away. I want you to really reduce the number of values that you have to maybe 3 to 5, just so they're easily rememberable, and you can write them down somewhere, and you don't have to start turning pages to do that, right? So then write those 3 to 5 down, re-look at them again, and really ask yourself, do these values align with the life or the next happy, to use Tracy Clintus's words, with the life that I'm trying to make for myself as I move through acceptance? Then I want you to write them down, put them somewhere visible, put them as the wallpaper on your phone. I want you to see them. Respect them, value your values. And then you can start taking some action steps to start to achieve those. Again, this is not something that you'll achieve in a week, right? But this is something that you're working toward. And when those painful thoughts start to come in or the grief starts to come in, I want you to honor it, respect it, give yourself some grace to feel it. And then I want you to remember these values to help shift you back into the future as well. I'm doing it right there along with you. So you're not alone in it either. Again, I think on really good days, I do this really well. And then we all have our moments where we think, well, this is a bunch of BS, but it is helpful. So stay tuned for more tips, resources, and connection at Saunders Sisterhood.